Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli, back with another review video, and for this one, gonna be reviewing another one of my all-time favorite Disney films, and that is all-time favorite Disney Pixar films. So of course, the other one was Monsters, Inc. That was number one. For number two, it's The Incredibles. And yeah, because who doesn't love The Incredibles? Well, I do. It's freaking awesome. The Incredibles. So because everything about it is awesome. From the mind and works of the one and only Brad Bird. And I've heard that because Brad Bird, he has been noted and called as like a Walt Disney. And yeah, kind of does. Yeah. Yeah, because The Incredibles, this came from, Brad Bird, like, his inspiration for doing The Incredibles came from reading superhero comics and such as the comic series of Nick Fury, Agent Shield, and also dealing with his family and, like, work on the Iron Giant, fearing of losing one of those, So those are his two inspirations for The Incredibles. And, and everything about it is awesome, because from the opening to it, and the glory days, then, as when Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl get married, as long as we both shall live, no matter what happens. Hey, come on, we're superheroes. What could happen? And then, boom, stuff strikes, like crazy stuff happens, in a stunning turn of events, a superhero is being sued for saving someone who apparently didn't want to be saved, because all chaos breaks, because superheroes go bankrupt, go downhill, and downhill for the superheroes, and and then cut to 15 years later for, Mr. Incredible and such, no longer superhero, now has a job and such, and missing the good old the glory days and such of superheroes, and so, and of course the characters, from Mr. Incredible to Elastigirl to Frozone, Dash, Violet, and Jack, and I said Frozone, Syndrome, Edna Mode, Mirage, and Rick Dicker, etc. They're all everything. Everything about this film is great, and the characters as well, and the Omnidroid and such. It isn't like until the end of the film where we see Jack. He uses we get to see him use his superpowers and unleashing them on Syndrome. And the short film of Jack Attacks. Probably one of the best. Incredible Pixar, Pixar short films, but incredible short films, that is, and it is, it's hilarious, because of her and Kari, I forgot to mention Kari the babysitter, and the action and climax in the film is great, the battles, everything else, like from Mr. Incredible fighting against the Omnidroid, the chase with the Syndrome's missiles about to hit the plane and such, and also the chase scene with Dash and such, probably one of the few best parts of the film, and and at the end of the film, the big climax and such, the Incredibles and Frozone taking on the Omnidroid and such, freaking awesome. And at the end of the film, where take on Syndrome, it's basically Jack taking on Syndrome. It's pretty funny and such, and Syndrome, man, just a pure evil villain. Like, he's my number 2 favorite Disney Pixar villain. He's just evil, and because he went by the name Buddy. He was Mr. Incredible's big number 1 fan, biggest fan, and just Mr. Incredible giving him a hard time, fly home, buddy, I work alone, and years later, Syndrome, because according as Syndrome says, it tore him apart, you know. And he said he learned one thing, you know, you can't count on anybody, especially your heroes, etc., you know. And Mr. Incredible apologizing him, and Syndrome's like, see, now you respect me, you know. Syndrome, completely different person now, you know. And what's really great is that at the part where, like, Syndrome, like, as these missiles are trying to destroy the plane, chasing the plane, and, like, Mr. Incredible's like, no, cut off the attack, I'll do anything. And he's like, too late. 15 years too late. Like, oh, yeah, that's really good, and kind of has a point, you know, just, you know. And when he thinks that they're dead and such, you know, they were killed, you know, Syndrome's like, you'll get over it. I seem to recall you, you know, prefer work alone, you know? And that's what really pisses off Mr. Incredible, and just, you know, and even, like, when Mr. Incredible knows that he's lost, you know, Syndrome got him. You know, he's like, I knew you couldn't do it, even when you have nothing to lose, you know, you're weak, and I've outgrown you. Just, man. Syndrome is one of the best villains, and is a great character in this film, and one of the best Disney Pixar villains, next to Randall Boggs from Monsters Inc., Lotso the bear, Otto from WALL-E. You know, he's there with those Disney Pixar villains. You know, he's right there with them, as well as and also forgot to mention Hopper from A Bug's Life, him too as well. Right there in the list of the most evil Disney Pixar villains, definitely. But yeah, so in Syndrome's defeat, like, didn't talk about Edna Mode. Edna Mode, she's hilarious in this, of course, you know, and of course, no capes, you know, and it kind of does show, you know, point out when Syndrome gets killed, his cape gets caught in the propeller of the jet, you know. It shows no capes, you know, and all because, you know, Mr. Incredible, he threw that car and such, you know. Edna Mode, again, she's great in this, you know, even in the sequel. Edna Mode, because, like, you know, you are Elastigirl! My God, pull yourself together! What would you do? Is this a question? You know, you will show him who he is, and you will remind him who you are. Oh, you know where he is? You know, fight, win, and call me when you get back. I enjoy our visits, you know. She's good in this, you know, and I think I can do a pretty good Edna Mode impression. I mean, that's my best. I did the best I could for this review video, but, you know, bear with me. But anyway, so, yeah, and the rest of the characters from Helen Parr to Dash and Violet, they're, of course, good, you know. I like that moment where, Helen was kind of being too harsh on Violet. If I'm trying to put it out, like, telling her to put a force field around the plane, you know. And, like, you know, you said you weren't supposed to use... I know what I said. Listen to what I'm saying now, you know. And, yeah, I can understand this because, you know, because kind of pushing it on her because a lot of... because, for instance, the jets were coming in, flying, everything was just happening, like, that quick, you know, like fast. So, best snap I could. But, when they're on the island and such, and right as, like... Helen goes off to find Bob, you know, and, like, Violet stops her mom, like, telling her about the plane such, and, you know, Helen said sorry and said, it wasn't my place, or it wasn't my place to do that kind of thing, that kind of stuff, and it's true, because, again, a lot of crazy stuff was happening during that, you know, when they were in the air, so, it goes to show, you know, everything was happening, like, that quick, so, and at the part, and so it has, because this film... It's emotional, funny, and thrilling, you know? And the parts with Bob, like, the part where going to fight the Omnidroid himself in the streets of Netroville? Yeah, Netroville. And, like, wanting to do it alone, then he just comes out and says, I can't lose you again, you know? And, like, Helen kisses him, and, like, if we work together, etc., you know? And Bob just, hey, we're superheroes, what can happen? And then, of course, the Omnidroid, you know? And of course, you know, of course, like, not just Bob and Helen and Frozone, they, of course, the kids take action as well, so, you know, Dash and Violet, so, But yeah, and at the end of the film, I almost forgot to mention, the end of the film with, Dash going out for sports and such. I like that part because I love it when he's run such and like they're just shouting, "Go Dash, run Dash, pick up the pace! Ah, no, pull it back!" And you see one guy's like, he has a look on his face, and like I think, yeah, Dash did win first place, And then at the end of the film, the Underminer appears, and John Ratzenberger, of course, does a good performance as the Underminer, and yet coincidentally enough, he's one of the last he's the very last voice of the film, like literally, And yeah, even I remember because in the commentary for The Incredibles, like Brad Bird felt that, well, it's Pixar, and it wouldn't be a Pixar film without John Ratzenberger, So, and it was nice that he did a villain, and of course being the Underminer, and he was the last voice of the film, which that was pretty cool. And one more thing, all the rest of the characters, like Bob's boss, voiced by Wallachon, yeah, he was pretty funny. And one line that's kind of popular from that is, "I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy." And Bob just grabbing him by the neck, just throwing him such. And I love those parts where Bob, says, "Uh-oh," And Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson's cameo, that was good, and one of Brad Bird's heroes, his heroes, Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson, and they had also made a cameo and such in The Iron Giant, also directed by Brad Bird. So, and Mirage, she was good in that as well. I kind of like how Mirage, she kind of redeems herself, becomes a good guy and such, Rick Dicker, voiced by Bud Luckey, of course, he's good as well. And yeah, everything about this movie is great, from the characters and such, and those guards, the Syndrome's army or something like that. Yeah, pretty good, and funny moments, I guess you can say. But again, everything about this movie is great. From it's funny, emotional, thrilling, action-packed, etc. You get the idea. So, for The Incredibles, I give it 10 out of 10 stars. It's a great film. It's one of the Pixar's top best films and such, and one of Brad Bird's best works, So anyways, with all that said, again, 10 out of 10 stars for The Incredibles. It's great, it's fantastic, one of Pixar's bests, and one of Brad Bird's best works. So yeah, and again, with all that said, 10 out of 10 stars for The Incredibles. Hope you enjoyed this review video. More new review videos coming your way. They're going to be awesome. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you guys in the next video/review video. Take care, and peace out. Showtime.